careful what you wish for. It all started that Friday night. The living room was dimly lit as Cordelia wished for something thrilling to liven up her weekend routine. If she'd known then what she knows now, she'd tell you to be careful what you wish for, because sometimes wishes come true. Red and orange leaves were swirling all around outside, announcing the arrival of fall, Cordelia's absolute favorite season. She curled up on the couch with her favorite green blanket and watched the leaves fall as she sighed. As she was brainstorming ideas on how to cure her boredom, an idea popped into her head. Duh, she said out loud. I'll just text the group chat and ask them to come over. Cordelia grabbed her phone and opened the trusty group chat with her 3 closest friends who had become more like siblings to her at this point. She had met Mia and Connor in kindergarten. They used to be the siblings who got relentlessly picked on until Cordelia came along. The kindergarten class bully had chosen them as a target. One day, as Jacob stole the siblings' peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, Cordelia decided enough was enough. One bloody nose and a tense phone call to her parents later, a lifelong friendship was born. Then, of course, came Hazel. Cordelia had met her in 2nd grade, and the group of 3 had become 4 just like that. Hazel was the sweet and timid one of the group. Her bright blue eyes always saw the good in people, maybe a little too much. She was often described as naive. Mia was bubbly, endlessly positive, and a little too smart for her own good. Connor was the literature nerd of the group, forever writing in his tired, worn-out notebook in his spare time. Cordelia, red-haired and green-eyed, was fiery and fearless, the one who took no shit and wouldn't hesitate to tell you exactly how she felt. Some people loved that about her. Others, not so much. Soon after the group had all excitedly agreed to come over, the doorbell rings and the 3 spill onto Cordelia's porch like a burst of color. Cordelia darts ahead, flinging the door open with a grin, and the group steps into the cozy comfort of the house. Mia hauls in a tote stuffed with chips and candy. Connor balances a stack of board games under one arm, and Hazel shuffles in wearing her tie-dye hoodie that looks like it's never left her side. The scent of popcorn and cinnamon wanders from the kitchen, and blankets are already draped over the back of the couch like they've been waiting for this exact moment. Cordelia's mom, Ellie, is there in the doorway to greet them, a broad smile lighting her face. "Well, look what the cat dragged in," she says, pulling each of them into a quick, genuine hug as they step inside. "You 4 must be ready for a night of chaos and snacks. Not too chaotic, though, I hope." Cordelia's dad, Jared, follows, chuckling from the kitchen where a pot on the stove bubbles softly. "Cookies are on the counter, popcorn's hot, and there's soda in the fridge," he adds, sounding half warning and half invitation. "Save some energy for the movie marathon, all right?" The group answers with excited chatter, trading quick hellos and stories about school and weekends as they shed coats and slide into the living room, where the couch awaits like a throne for an evening of brave dares and shared scares. "I'm so glad you invited us over," says Hazel with a smile. "This was shaping up to be the most boring Friday in history." Cordelia chuckles in agreement. "Girl, tell me about it. I was about to start making friends with the dust bunnies." Connor and Mia laugh and roll their eyes at Cordelia's dramatic exaggeration. "What, dust bunnies are cooler than us now?" he says sarcastically, motioning to Mia, Hazel, and himself. "Oh, shut up, Connor," Cordelia says while playfully punching his arm. "No one could ever be as cool as my best friends." "Is that flirting between my brother and best friend I see?" Mia asks teasingly. Connor and Cordelia turn the color of a sunburn and glance at each other. "Definitely not," they exclaim in unison. "Sure, whatever you say. We totally believe you," Hazel says mockingly. The group laughs and shakes their heads. "If you all are done with your baseless accusations, I'd like to start our Friday night off with a scary movie," Cordelia says. Mia and Connor agree while Hazel remains silent with a nervous look on her face. "Don't worry, Hazel," Cordelia says calmly. "It's not even that scary." Hazel reluctantly agrees, and Cordelia excitedly grabs the remote and switches on the TV. Connor turns off the lights, and the glow of the TV lights up the room. Mia gets up to grab the snacks and soda, her feet creaking along the wooden floor. As everyone returns to the living room eagerly awaiting the movie, Cordelia already has it pulled up and displayed on the screen. Hazel looks at it timidly. Does it have to be about the dark web? You know that stuff creeps me out. Relax, Hazel. It's only a movie, just for fun. Cordelia said this like a promise, but maybe some promises are meant to be broken. As the opening credits rolled, a chill swept through the room, the kind that made the hairs on the back of Cordelia's neck stand on end. The film began with a grainy video of a group of friends gathered in a dimly lit living room much like the one they were in, sharing laughs and secrets. But then the screen flickered, and an unsettling noise filled the air. A low, haunting hum that seemed to resonate with the shadows lurking in the corners of the room. Cordelia glanced at Hazel. Her bright blue eyes were wide and anxious, and she clutched a pillow tightly. Mia, meanwhile, was bouncing with excitement, her fingers digging into the chips as she leaned closer to the screen. Connor, ever the skeptic, rolled his light brown eyes, but he could not hide the slight twitch of his lips that portrayed his intrigue. As the plot thickened, the characters on screen stumbled upon a mysterious dark web chat room. The TV screen was filled with horror as the actors and actresses realized they should have never gotten on the dark web. They had stumbled on a killer's playground. It was a video and it was live. Oh, please, this is so clearly fake. The acting isn't even good, Connor complained. Hazel appeared visibly uncomfortable. Cordelia shrugged her shoulders. Yeah, I agree. Maybe we should find a different scary movie. Just as Cordelia was about to turn off the movie and look for a new one, Mia spoke up. I know what's even scarier than a movie. What is it? The group asked. Being in your own movie, of course, Mia claimed excitedly. Sounds interesting, but what do you mean? Cordelia asked curiously. I don't like where this is going, Hazel said nervously. We go on the dark web ourselves and see if this is real, obviously. Absolutely not. You're crazy, Hazel protested, annoyed. Connor chimed in. You're my sister and all, but I have to agree with Hazel on this one. I mean, haven't you paid any attention in our horror movie marathons? Someone always dies doing dumb stuff like that. You both are no fun, Mia answered, feeling let down. I'll bet Cordelia will be on my side. Thrill and uncertainty filled Cordelia's eyes. I'm not sure it's a good idea either. We might be messing with something we shouldn't be, Cordelia stated. Lame. I thought you were supposed to be the brave one, Mia said in a daring tone. I am brave, but I'm not stupid, Cordelia said, rolling her eyes. We are not doing this, Hazel added. Oh, come on. We'll just search the dark web for 10 minutes, and if we don't find anything interesting, we stop. We don't even know how to get onto it even if we wanted to, Connor pointed out. I do, Mia said matter-of-factly. Why the hell do you know that? Connor questioned, clearly concerned about his sister. I was bored one night when I saw a Reddit post about the dark web. It seemed interesting, so I looked into it. You know, normal people play video games or watch a movie when they get bored. They don't seek out the dark web. This is why I always say you're too smart for your own good, Mia, Connor said in a worried tone, shaking his head, his short brown hair moving slightly. Mia ignored Connor's concerns completely and focused her brown eyes on Cordelia again. You know you're just as curious as I am. Don't pretend you aren't, Mia went on, pushing a strand of her golden blonde hair out of her face. Fine. 10 minutes, that's all. Cordelia finally agreed. The remaining two of the group sighed. I guess we're doing this, Connor said. You don't have to, Mia and I can do it alone, Cordelia told him. Yeah, right. As if I'd let my sister and my crew, my best friend, do this alone, Connor said awkwardly. Was he just about to call me his crush? The thought alone made Cordelia blush. She laughed nervously and changed the subject. Okay then, let's do this. Hazel, you coming? I'm not staying down here alone, so I guess, she said, much to her dismay. With some reluctance, Hazel followed her friends up the steps and down the ominous hallway to Cordelia's room. Mia guided them through the process of accessing the dark web, her fingers flying over Cordelia's laptop keyboard. Just follow my lead. And remember, we're only in here for 10 minutes, she said, her voice laced with a mix of excitement and mischief. Once they were in, the screen filled with a chaotic array of links, some enticing, others downright disturbing. Cordelia felt a knot tighten in her stomach as she scrolled through the options. This is insane. Should we really be doing this? She whispered, a hint of doubt creeping into her voice. Just a quick look, I promise, Mia insisted. They clicked on a link labeled Live Chat Room, and suddenly they were inside a chaotic digital space filled with usernames scrolling past like a never-ending river of anonymity. Whoa, this feels just like the movie, Connor said, peering closer at the screen. What should we say? Mia asked, her eyes shining with thrill. We shouldn't say anything, Cordelia answered. But before she could stop Mia, she quickly typed, "We're watching you," and hit send. The chat exploded with reactions. Some were amused, others furious. For a split second, they all laughed nervously, but then a chill swept through the room as the comments shifted from playful to menacing. You shouldn't have done that, one user replied ominously, sending a shiver down Cordelia's spine. They know where you are. What does that even mean? Connor asked, his carefree demeanor vanishing. Just then, Cordelia's phone buzzed violently on the table. She picked it up, heart racing, and her face paled as she read the text displayed on the screen. It was from her own number. I see you. Isn't that your number? Did you send that? Connor asked, his eyes wide. It's my number, but no, I didn't send it. My phone has been on the table. Cordelia exclaimed, her voice rising in panic. I swear I didn't send anything. Mia's excitement faded into fear, and Hazel looked ready to bolt. We need to get out of here now. As they scrambled to close the dark web window, the lights in the living room flickered ominously, and the front door creaked open slightly, as if an unseen force had nudged it. What was that? Hazel's voice trembled, and Cordelia felt a chill race down her spine. Let's just forget about this and watch the movie, Connor suggested, trying to regain control of the situation, but Cordelia felt a creeping sense of doom settle over her. As they turned their attention back to the screen, a new message appeared in the chat. You shouldn't have played with the dark. Now you're part of the game. The room fell silent, the reality of their situation settling heavily around them. They weren't just watching a scary movie anymore, they were living it. The message on the screen seemed to pulse with malevolent energy, and suddenly the house felt different, colder, more threatening. The familiar creaks and settling sounds that Cordelia had grown up with now seemed ominous. We need to get downstairs to my parents, Cordelia whispered, her voice barely audible. But as they crept toward the bedroom door, a shadow moved across the hallway. A figure stood at the top of the stairs, tall, wearing dark clothing, with something glinting in his hand. Nobody move, the stranger said, his voice eerily calm. You kids shouldn't have been so curious. Hazel let out a strangled gasp, and Mia grabbed Connor's arm so tightly her knuckles went white. Cordelia's mind raced. They were trapped in her bedroom with nowhere to go. The window, she mouthed to her friends, pointing toward her second-story bedroom window that faced the backyard. But the man stepped into the room, blocking their path to it. You thought it was just a game, didn't you? Typing messages, thinking you were safe behind your little screen. What do you want? Cordelia demanded, her fiery nature overriding her fear. I want you to understand that actions have consequences, he replied, taking another step forward. That's when Connor surprised everyone. The quiet, literature-loving boy grabbed the heavy hardcover dictionary from Cordelia's desk and hurled it at the intruder's head. It connected with a solid thunk, causing the man to stumble backward. Run, Connor shouted. Chaos erupted. Mia grabbed the laptop and swung it at the intruder's arm, while Hazel, despite her timid nature, grabbed a lamp and yanked the cord from the wall, throwing it at him. The man, dazed but not down, swung wildly. Connor tackled him around the waist, and they both crashed into Cordelia's dresser, sending her mirror flying, shattering it all over the floor. Help! Cordelia screamed at the top of her lungs. The sound of screams filled the air as furniture was overturned in the struggle. Downstairs, Ellie and Jared bolted upright from their bed where they'd been watching their own movie. "The kids are in trouble," Ellie gasped, already reaching for her phone. The sounds of the fight intensified, shouting, crashing, Hazel screaming. Jared grabbed a baseball bat from the hall closet while Ellie dialed emergency services. 911, what's your emergency? Ellie's voice was hysterical. "Someone's in our house attacking our daughter and her friends." "Please hurry," she shouted. Upstairs, the four friends had managed to corner the intruder. Connor had a bloody nose, Mia's shirt was torn, Cordelia had a cut on her arm, and Hazel was crying. But they'd fought back with everything they had. A wooden leg had snapped off her nightstand in the struggle. Cordelia picked it up quickly and stood over the groaning figure with the leg in her hand, ready to strike if he moved. Jared burst through the bedroom door, baseball bat in hand. "Get away from my daughter," he roared, positioning himself between the intruder and the kids. Within minutes, the house was flooded with red and blue lights. Police officers thundered up the stairs, weapons drawn, and quickly subdued the intruder, who was still dazed from the teenager's fierce resistance. As paramedics checked the friends for injuries and the police led the man away in handcuffs, Detective Martinez approached Cordelia and her parents. "You kids are incredibly lucky," she said, shaking her head in amazement. "And incredibly brave. Do you have any idea who this person is?" "No," Cordelia replied, still shaking. "He found us through some dark web chat room. We were just being stupid." 2 hours later, Detective Martinez returned with news that made everyone's blood run cold. "The man we arrested tonight is Marcus Knight," she announced. "He's been on the FBI's most wanted list for 3 years. He's suspected in at least 10 murders across 4 states, all young people he contacted through various online platforms." Ellie gasped and pulled Cordelia closer. "He's been completely off the grid," the detective continued. "Tonight was the first time we've had any trace of him. If you kids hadn't fought back the way you did, if you hadn't made enough noise to alert your parents..." She didn't need to finish the sentence. Connor reached over and squeezed Cordelia's hand. "We did it," he whispered. "We actually did it." "I can't believe we caught a serial killer," Mia said, her voice still shaky but filled with disbelief. "I can't believe we survived a serial killer," Hazel corrected, finally managing a weak smile. As the last police car pulled away and the house finally fell quiet, the four friends sat in the living room with Cordelia's parents. The forgotten horror movie still paused on the TV screen. "So," Connor said, attempting to lighten the mood, "anyone want to finish the movie?" "Absolutely not," all 3 girls said in unison, and despite everything they'd been through, they all started laughing. Cordelia looked around at her best friends, her chosen family, and realized that sometimes the scariest stories have the best endings. They'd faced real evil and won, together. "Next Friday," she announced, "we're playing board games. Nice, safe, boring board games." "Deal." They all agreed, and for the first time that night, Cordelia felt truly safe again. Outside, the autumn leaves continued to fall, but inside, Cordelia had learned one thing. Be careful what you wish for, because it just might come true.